Hello and welcome. This is the Interceptor Bear 650 from Royal Enfield, which is basically a Interceptor but in scrambler form. And I tell you what, I've just ridden here and it feels pretty good actually. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. But if you look at this bike for just over 6,500 quid, you get quite a lot. Obviously we've got knobbly tyres. These are the Nylorex MRF, which are, intermediate knobbly tyres, I would guess. You've got a slightly bigger wheel on the front, so you've got a 19-inch wheel on the front and you've got a 17-inch wheel on the back. So it's not a bad look. I quite like this actually, and I quite like these colours. It's quite nice. I think they're doing the right thing, Royal Enfield, aren't they? I think they're definitely getting the market correct. Now, the reason I make this video is because I want to show you what it's like for a 6'6" bloke riding a relatively smallish bike. For me, I've already ridden the Shotgun, which is exactly the same engine, and this engine is also shared with the Meteor, I think it's called, as well, which is the cruiser version. And I like these engines. I think they're really good. They look the part, they fit in the bike well. And do you know what I like most about these sorts of bikes? Simplicity. It just looks simple. You've got the navigation stuff built into the dashboard, but overall pretty simple. So I think without further ado, let's take it out for a little ride. We've got some lovely little country lanes. It's just coming up to the end of January, so the roads are pretty greasy, but it should be fun. So there's the Interceptor Bear 650 label coming up, and you've got an all LCD screen, which is pretty nice. It's very easy to read, everything you need to know. We're not going into ins and outs of the navigation on this right now because it is just a first ride a first ride thing. This is what you get, and let's have a look and go for a ride. Now, as I'm sitting on the bike, I will say it's quite comfortable for me. Like I said, I'm 6'6". I've got a 34-inch inside leg. Now, one of the things I do struggle with is getting my feet onto that. If you're not, it's okay there, but when I'm riding along, it's a little bit awkward. So I have to think about where my foot is. It's not too bad on the brake, but you can see the engine casing actually gets in the way a little bit there, which is a bit frustrating, but it's not too bad. But we get this lovely dash, these nice wide handlebars with the brace in the middle, so it looks the part, and you've got the twin shocks on the rear, and you've got a single disc on the front. Now, honestly, I think that's fine for this sort of bike. I've not had any issues riding it over here, and you've got, of course, nice upside down forks at the front and ABS, so all good. I don't know if you can turn the ABS off. I'll find out for you if you can, and I'll put a little bit of text to say whether you can or not. And she roars into life. And there you go, you get the little sweep on the screen, and everything looks cushy. It's a super light bike. I forgot to check the actual weight of these, so I'll put this up on the screen now, but it does feel pretty light underneath me. But I do think it's perfect for these sorts of roads. So let's give it a go. The first thing to mention, one of the things I noticed straight away, the non-adjustable suspension, I think you can adjust the preload on the rear springs, is rock hard. It's so stiff. It's back braking. I think that needs, that might be fine after a while, but when you're riding it down a bumpy lane like this, it is very, very stiff. It's a very greasy back roads today, but this is what I thought a scrambler would be good at. I'd imagine taking this down some nice dusty lanes would be pretty good fun actually. But yeah, it feels good on these, and I must say it handles pretty well on those knobbly tyres. It probably handles quite well because the suspension is non-existent. It'd be interesting to see how I would get on long term with this, whether it would destroy the back. I'm not uncomfortable though. I don't feel massively uncomfortable. It's okay, my legs are in a good position, my knees aren't too bent. I'm sure I look like a wally, but I do feel confident on these roads on this bike, and like I said, it's as greasy as hell. Brakes are pretty good. You've only got that single disc up the front, and that feels absolutely adequate for what this bike needs. I'm not pushing too hard through the corners because I'm well aware of the state of the roads. Yeah, over some mud there. The back end was just getting a little bit squirmy. Not in a bad way though, or an unpredictable way. That's good. This little junction here. I don't want to return the bike to GV Bikes and just give them a little mention. GV Bikes in Taunton, who are a Royal Enfield main dealer, have lent me the bike for this afternoon for a quick ride out. So thank you very much, guys, if you're watching this. It does feel fun across these bumpy bits, actually. Even with that quite solid suspension, it feels okay. Feels like it's responding to my input pretty well. And that's all you can ask, isn't it? The engine pulls really well, actually. It's very linear. When I actually managed to get my foot to that gear lever, it does change incredibly smoothly. And when I rode the shotgun, I'll put a link up to the shotgun if you're interested. When I rode that, the one thing that I forgot to mention on that bike is the gearbox on these, and that was when I rode the Gorilla 400 as well. The gearbox is super duper smooth. Honestly, that is one thing you just don't expect it. I don't know why you don't expect it from these bikes, but honestly, really smooth. And I'll try and get the feel for that in a minute. It's like standing up. Nah, not bad. I don't like standing up really on bikes like this because the handlebars are too close to me. They need to be raised up and pushed away a little bit, I think. Someone on my stature. I think you'd be alright if you're an average height. Oh, it does. The engine, I tell you what, I do like these little engines. You get about 47 brake horsepower from the 650 twin. It's an air-cooled unit. It's more than most will ever need. I'm pootling around in third gear here, just up and down through the revs, and it feels absolutely fine for me. So we should be able to get through the gears nicely here. So, I mean, it just snicks in. No drama whatsoever. Lovely. I like the noise this makes as well. I bet with a little sporty exhaust on this, it'll be really rather nice. Nice. But this bike, this sort of bike, is perfect for someone who's just getting into biking. They've just passed their test. Honestly, just over £6.5 grand. What more could you want? The only thing I think with these is the servicing's quite so it's the first 300 miles you have to take it in for a service, and then it's every 3,000 miles, which is not too bad. I think servicing about 150 to 250 pound depending on what needs doing. That's not bad, is it really? I mean, you are getting a lot of bike for your money, and I think that's what people need to realise, and I think that's what manufacturers need to realise. Other manufacturers, Japanese, that's it. It's a lovely car, mate. It's very yellow. We all live in a yellow Porsche Carrera. A yellow Porsche Carrera. In your butt 20. Is it a private number plate, or is that just a number plate? Anyway, I digress. Where were we? So yeah, value for money. I don't think you can go wrong with these. There's lots you can do to them, lots of bits and pieces you can add on from Royal Enfield, very inexpensive. And I imagine a used one of these, when they start to get back into the market after a year or two, you're going to be able to pick up one for very, very little, which is amazing. I think it's amazing. And if I come into a situation whereby I didn't have any money, or well, not any money, but you know, I needed to sell my bikes but still wanted a bike, I would not, this would be one of my lists to check out the Royal Enfield stuff. I think it is just a no-brainer really for a lot of people. If you're looking for that classic look with modern technology, why not? I don't want to pull too hard on this because it is a brand new bike. What we'll do is we'll head through town, see what it feels like heading through town as well. But honestly, what a lovely little bike. It was very good. I can imagine that after a while when this gets warm, your legs are going to get a bit warm on this, but I have got incredibly stupid long legs. Yeah, we're keeping up with traffic, no problem. It's really well balanced. I don't really feel the rumble through those knobbly tyres, which is nice. I said I don't have a video of me sitting on this, but here's a video of me sitting on it at the show, where I was suitably impressed with it at the show. I thought it was a great looking little bike, and I quite like these colours as well. But you can see that my 6-foot frame with my 34-inch inside leg, lanky leg man I am, it fits all right. I don't think if you're a lanky person, you're going to struggle too much. I mean, I can't imagine touring on this thing. I mean, you could. The seat feels okay, a little bit firm, but I don't think that's the end of the world. But yeah, you can see in the video I sit on it okay, my legs aren't too bent, and yeah, it's all good. Okay, so we're just going to start heading into sort of more trafficy areas. Let's see how this behaves. Now, one thing I am really struggling with is finding that gear lever with my massive plates of meat. I think it's because they're so wide, I just can't get to that gear lever properly. I like the way this turns actually, it turns in really nicely. I'm sort of getting used to that gear lever, but it is in a really silly place. Let's see what it's like getting around this traffic here. I mean, it does pull really well from the low revs. Incredibly well. So yeah, if you're in the market for the Bear 650, do, if you're living in the area of GV Bikes, which great little dealership, which is starting to thrive, and imagine with lots of other places closing down. They're a great bunch of guys, and if you want to go and test a bike, they're more than willing to let you have a go. They're not precious, and that's really nice. It's very nice low down in the revs as well. It's not jerky, that I said, like I can notice that's going to be off-putting. Feels quite smooth actually in the lower end of the revs. So I think to sum up, good value. Actually, I'm not going to say good value, it is great value. This bike, I mean, there are obviously, it's a long-term use that will expose the issues with quality, if there is any issues with quality. But I can't see any looking at it. The switches are a little bit plasticky. It's not the end of the world. But a perfect commuter stroke. You know, a little bit of adventure, spend a day trip easily on this, no problem at all. You're not obviously going to, you can probably have a pillion on it. I don't think having a pillion on it is going to be much fun for the pillion. But overall, a really good, not a starter, I mean, it is a starter bike, it's a really good first big bike. But you know, if someone's just looking for a commuter, so it looks quite stylish, it's got that classic look with modern technology, then for just over £6.5 grand on the road, I don't think you can go wrong. And on that note, on that absolute bombshell, thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time watching Tom's TC, what we're all about, but what I'm all about, is just being as real as I possibly can, testing these bikes. Give us a thumbs up, give me a comment below, let me know what you think. Have you got a Bear 650? Have you got one on order? Let me know your thoughts, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Tom's TC. Ciao.